Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to interview today Reverend Sandra Spiker of the, am I saying this right? The BC First Spiritual Church in Michigan.
Bay City, yes, the Bay City Spiritual Church.
When I first came across that, Sandra, I thought it was British Columbia, and I thought you were in Canada.
Well, it's the first spiritual church of Bay City. Well, not Midland.
Before we talk about a little bit about the church, tell me a little bit about your background and how you came to be at the church, become a reverend, help people through grief and suffering, and your mediumship, your afterlife reset. How did that all happen with you?
It all happened in 1997, and a friend said, "Oh, you have got to come to this church," and he goes, "They talk to dead people," and I went, "Are you kidding?" And he goes, no, you got to go. And so I walked into this little church, and at that time it didn't even have pews; it had folding chairs.
Wow!
And I'm going, oh dear. But anyway, so I sat down, and then it immediately, as soon as, because this church is a liturgical, so it's, welcome and please rise for the opening hymn and stand for the prayer of affirmation. And then we sat down, and it felt very comfortable. Oh, I'm in a church of worship. And then we read the Declaration of Principles, and it was like I had come home.
Oh, I know that feeling. Oh,
this
my goodness.
The first thing, we believe that God is infinite intelligence, that God is energy. It was like, it's not a guy on a throne anymore judging. And I think, and then what really hit was the fourth principle, and that is, we're responsible. We're responsible for our happiness or our unhappiness.
Absolutely.
And that heaven and hell are only states of consciousness. And I'm not going to say what my background was, but for the longest time, I thought for sure I was going to be damned to hell. At least I was going to purgatory.
we won't go into the past then. We'll forget the past.
That was already a hint, okay, of my background. But it truly was. And I've heard this so many times from other people. It's this whole idea, oh my God, I've come home. So I am no longer.
I think, what you're saying as well is that not only did you have this place of worship that you found, but you also found a sense of community.
Oh, yes. Same. The same-minded people.
Yeah. Same.
You felt, you didn't feel like, am I crazy? My mother thought for sure, that I was going to burn in hell, especially.
Yeah, I've had that.
But then, after, I would actually, when I would do my sermons, I would have her listen to them. And so finally we went to Israel together, and she goes, Sandra, I finally figured out why you are in this church. And I said, why? Well, because you can give sermons, and you give good sermons.
That's fantastic. And so, you obviously then went in there totally new, not understanding about the afterlife, or not understanding perhaps about what, the buzzword spiritualism really was. But you developed over a period of time, and you became a reverend. You are Reverend Sandra Spiker. The singing and very musical Reverend Sandra Spiker. So, did you just immerse yourself totally in that study, or because you had a sense of feeling you'd come home? So was
I
that
so desperately, I was asked to go to a convention at the United Metaphysical Churches. And at the convention at that time, they had their ordination. And a dear, dear friend of mine went with me. And she said to me, I really feel a calling. I really feel that I want to come to this seminary here in Virginia. And I'm going, I'm not.
Where have I
She
heard
goes,
that before?
but she goes, but would you come with me? And I went, well, yeah, I would. I said, I really want to learn as much as I can about metaphysics. So guess who was ordained?
That's fantastic. I mean, it really is. And then from then on in, how did you get, how did you become the I would say one of the main focal point people within the church? I mean, tell us a little bit about your church, and if you know a little bit about its history and how it's all kind of developed from.
Well, the church comes from the spiritualist roots.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think what I think it was just, we talked about the excitement, the excitement of being in a place where you're no longer condemned. You're no longer, something less than you are. But I think what was so beautiful about this church, it wasn't just, you going to a worship service, but you become empowered. You are given tools.
Yeah.
I always say to a lot of the students in my mediumship class, you are your best medium because you have all of the answers within you. It's just a matter of remembering.
Absolutely. That's so true. And I think that's a very poignant fact to make. So tell me a little bit about what type of events, and someone who is, let's say, for instance, I'm in your area in Michigan. I've never been to your church, but I have the same feeling that you did many, many years ago. What can I expect coming into your church? What can I expect in terms of how I'm received? What events do you do? How will this change my life?
Well, I think the first thing is that everyone, as they walk into the church, is always welcomed immediately. I mean, if someone new is spotted, they are taken care of immediately. And it's a whole idea of being invited into the service, because before the actual worship service, there's a healing service, a 20-minute meditation healing service. And so, it isn't that we just, push you in. That's explained before you move into that healing service. And then the other thing is that we are constantly having different kinds of classes and events. I have taught, it's a mediumship to finding your guides and teachers. And so I find it's beginning meditation for guides and teachers, but a lot of people who, I think they've been coming to my class for probably about 15 years now. But and finding, and because through meditation and through, you're learning more and more about yourself and your path. But I also think it's the whole concept of, like I said before, it's being with like-minded people who want to really seriously, I can't think of any other word, empower people and give people those kinds of tools that they need, whether they're just going to come to a service or a class, or whether eventually, oh my goodness, I do have I do have that gift.
I can speak to the dead.
I am a medium.
Can you reference back, can you remember back, Sandra, to any particular, and not individual, but I often think of our spiritualist churches around the world, and you know, certain ones that I've been to, that they are almost a haven for the lost soul, someone who's searching, who hasn't found home like you have or I have, or a family. You know, can you think of an example maybe that you can share where somebody was truly lost and it just totally changed their whole outlook in life, their, you know, other than you or other than I, is there, can you refer back to an example like that?
It happens. I think the first thing I have to say is, like Reverend Laura McLaughlin, our pastor, will say, you know, this is a church that people come for a day or a month or maybe 10, 15 years. And then it's interesting that those people eventually return, and it could be for a day again or a month. I think it's what we need on our path, on our life journey, that helps us. And yes, I mean, people who come into the church, and I mean, people who have lost a loved one, who feel guilty that they weren't with them at the end as they were making their transition. And to hear a name, to hear, you know, I am here. I am in a beautiful place. I love you. Don't ever think for a moment that I have never stopped loving you. I mean, just in that moment.
Yeah. It's an amazing.
And you know that it changes their lives forever.
Do you have any particular programs within your church that are just purely set for the grieving individual, maybe that doesn't want to be a medium, but they're heavily steeped in grief? Do you have like programs that help them through?
I teach death and dying, hospice experience.
There we go.
At the seminary, and so we do have workshops on grief. I mean, we have you name it. I mean,
it's not just grief, it's personal spiritual journey and everything.
Yes. I mean, we have past life regression meditations.
Wow.
We have, I personally love, yes, I do love meeting your guides and teachers, but I also teach symbols, language of the soul. And so I work with animal totems. And so there are just, there are so many modalities for people.
What would you say to a young, aspiring, no, I'm not going to say young, because I don't really want to put that down to ageism or something. Or if someone say, God, your interviewer was being very ageist. But what would you say to someone who felt like they had an ability and wanted to develop that? What's the most important aspect of them searching and finding such a place like yours?
We have that. We have that many times where, and you're correct. It is a lot of young people who come.
Yeah.
And yes, and and we do have development classes, and each month we have a circle where people who don't quite even understand what that's all about, all of a sudden are in a circle and realize that they have just given somebody else a wonderful message from Spirit. And
that reminds me back to the first ever time I went to a public circle, and it was a case of people, okay, you're developing as a medium and you're kind of used to it, but there's people that come in that have never done it before, and of course the minister at the time just takes something and says, here, hold that, you're going to be given a message, and you see this look of bewilderment, like a rabbit has just seen a car on the road. But it's
Yes.
amazing how you manage to just tease that out of them and to help them to recognize their own power.
Yes. Yes. Because, you know, and everybody, you know, and because everybody has their own special, I mean, they all have their special gifts. I think the thing that was so interesting is I in my class, and it was just an unbelievable realization. Someone, well, after a meditation, did you see? And there's going, no, I didn't see anything. And then it's the realization, it hit me. Oh, but did you feel? Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely.
So it's, you know, the whole idea of using all of your senses, that's important. And
it helps the individual in their you know, their everyday life, their everyday functioning.
Oh, yes, it does. There's no doubt about it. We have a class, Metaphysics for Everyday Life.
See, that's fantastic. And you don't have to want to become a medium or a psychic. The metaphysics can actually help you in every aspect of your life.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And yes.
How often do you have, like, you know, you have weekly services, obviously. What are your weekly services, and how often do you have events and workshops that people can come to?
Weekly services, of course, is on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Healing service now in the fall. We go from the fall time from October through May, and so the healing service is at 2:00. Worship service is at 2:30, and then in the summertime, because everyone goes to the lake in the summer, we have even.
That's when you get more members.
We have evening service, and so the healing is at 6:30. Worship service is at 7, and there's always something during. Usually classes are on Thursday nights. So my class meets once a month, the third Thursday of every month now. And for a while there, I was not doing summer classes, but because, you know, people so desperately wanted to continue having the classes, so they're year round. And then we do have classes are after. We also have like I was saying, the metaphysics for everyday life. A lot of times they have classes right after church. So church is over probably about 4:30. So about 4:30 to 5:30, they will have classes on Sundays. So there's always classes going on.
There's always something going on.
Yes.
So invite your local community. It's your opportunity now, Sandra, to invite everybody in the area to come and join you.
I would, please, just come one time. Just come one time. And I
can tell you guys, if you're listening to this, you know, you're hopefully you're not seeing me, but the energy between us is beautiful. It's a wonderful energy. And really, if this is a place that, if this sparks your interest in your life, whether it be afterlife, mediumship, whether it be developing the soul, developing your spirituality, go to the First Spiritual Church and meet these wonderful people. Now, before we finish, Sandra, I've got to ask you, and I ask this a lot to all mediums, if you had a chance and you could go back in time, who would be the medium you would want to either learn from or sit with? That's loaded.
That's really loaded. You know, Reverend Gladys Strom was a physical medium, and amazing. And I had the opportunity to have her in mediumship classes when I was in Roanoke, Virginia. And
Wow.
she died 6/6 of 06, and she made the 666 a whole new.
So occultists are listening to this, don't even get any ideas.
But oh,
it's so beautiful for you to say someone that you aspired to or trained with, because normally when I ask that, the answers I get are almost certainly, I want to go to Silver Birch, White Eagle, I want to, you know, I want to go to D.D. Hume, or, you know, but you've just chosen not a massively well-known, just someone that you had that vibrational connection with, and that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yes, thank you.
Well, listen, I actually want to do a lot more with you guys with the church and videos like these, and I think we'll do it again, so that maybe when you have different events that we can maybe talk about, because it's great. If you find them on Afterlife Connect, please go and see them. If you find them on their nice brand new website, give them a call, drop them an email. It's wonderful to have you and to just speak to you and get to know you, Sandra. And what's the last thing that you want to say to anybody in your area now? What's your message you want to give the world in your area, or even the world? Give it, Sandra. It's your spotlight.
Oh, I know. One of the things that, as far as my mediumship is, I do smoke billets.
Wow. Do you know, I've never experienced it. I want to experience it. So that's an excuse for me to come up when I move there.
And I just told Reverend Laura, I said, in this winter, I will do a 4-hour workshop on coming and just trying and doing smoke billets with people. So come and join us and see what smoke billets are. It's a form of precipitation. And the wonderful thing about them, you might get initials of loved ones in spirits. Many times I get all different kinds of animals that come in.
Wow.
And so I would invite, I'm not sure when it's going to happen, but I promised her we're going to have a workshop.
Well, that's definitely something I would like to see. And before anybody gets any ideas listening, it doesn't mean they sit around in a circle with a peace pipe smoking a Native American pipe or anything else.
Oh, you'd laugh. You'd laugh with what we have a special on between Christmas and New Year's, we have an all message service. And all of us ministers get up and do our own, we have psychic artists, we have me doing smoke billets, we have blindfold billets, just regular clairvoyance, but it's a time. And so when I'm starting to put the card over the flame, and I'll say, now, if the flame goes out, oh no, I'm just going to have to relight it.
Sandra, it's been awesome speaking to you. And once again, I'll say to anybody listening and watching, the church is a lovely church. You are one of the main focal leaders there, as well as Reverend Laura. But there's so many people involved. Go and see them and go and experience this at another level. And with that, Sandra, thank you very much for spending time with us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I did have fun.